Welcome. Thank you for being here. We appreciate and value your time. I'm Jessica Medford-Miller. I'm our Assistant Executive Director of Planning and System Development for Metro Transit. I'm joined by our team of planning and customer service team members. Any one of us is here today to talk with you about the draft Metro Reimagined concept and answer your questions. Because it is a full system plan, we encourage you to talk with us one-on-one and find out the details so we can ensure you're aware of any of the changes that are being considered that would impact you. It is a draft vision. That means we are out actively seeking public comment. We're having meetings like this. We're also talking to employers, elected officials, and businesses to obtain feedback on how this proposed plan would or would not work for the customers we serve, and we'll revise this plan and release it again this summer. I'm going to give you a quick overview. All of the maps I'm sharing today, by the way, are on those presentation boards in the back of the room and on our website as well. I encourage you to take a close look at it. So what Metro Reimagined is a vision for our Metro bus system for the next 5 to 10 years. We are focused solely in this project on the Missouri portion of Metro Bus. It is a plan for public mobility that is intended to deliver improved service to our existing customers and to help us attract, retain, and restore ridership on our system. What I'm describing here today, or when it's in its final form, would be implemented around a 2019 timeframe. Our goals with Metro Reimagined are, number one, to increase ridership and restore ridership we've lost recently, to provide service that is cost-effective to the various markets that we serve across Missouri, and to deliver an enhanced customer experience. Our guiding principles for Metro Reimagined and other projects that Metro is pursuing, and I'll touch on some of those today, is to create a more rider-centric system that focuses on how customers use the system. We want to improve your travel time, decrease wait time, make the service more convenient and accessible. We talked with the public in fall of 2017, and some of you may have participated in pop-up sessions at our stations or other public forums. We also had an online survey, and we passed out small paper surveys in card form at stations, and customers could mail them back. We were asking people at that time, what do you want of your Metro system that you don't have today, or what do you want to see more of? And this helped us create a set of guiding principles that we used to create this draft vision for service. The number one thing customers requested is more frequent service, and that's not surprising. Frequent transit service and direct transit service is a hallmark of any large mass transit system. When we talk about frequent service, we mean service that operates, for the most part, at least every 15 minutes. And I'll go through in detail the different tiers of service we're proposing. Other things that customers asked for were amenities like benches and shelters. Make my ride more convenient, make me feel safe, and protect me from the elements when I am waiting for the bus, and ideally, don't leave me waiting too long. So we used that information as well as a whole suite of industry best practices. We're working with a national consultant team, and we're also looking at what's happening in other transit systems across the country. So we're using that customer information, industry best practices, and very detailed information about our system performance today, including ridership, where people are coming from and going to, and ridership at all different times of the day, to create this vision that identifies specific service types that are geared to match the various mobility markets in the St. Louis region. The array of mobility solutions or types of service that we're proposing today, it looks a little bit different than what we have in the Metro Transit system right now. Today, our 84 Metro bus routes all operate on a fixed schedule, typically every 20, 40, or 60 minutes. Many of those routes are rather long, and travel times can take quite a while. So we're trying to create routes that are more direct and provide more frequency when we can. And I want to be clear about the trade-off between the frequency and service coverage. We are proposing not to operate service on some streets. This is a draft proposal, and I really want you to think about where we would be proposing to operate service and where we would not be. Because this is a cost-constrained plan, that means the amount of money we're going to spend or have available to us to spend on operating the Metro Transit system once we implement Metro Reimagined will be the same as the resources we have today. And so we'd like to create this vision for better using or adjusting the resources we have available to us today to deliver that improved customer experience, more cost-effective service and ridership. So fundamentally, we are matching different types of service to the different mobility markets across the region. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So our mobility toolkit, these are the tools or the types of service that we are exploring. Number one, we have MetroLink. We're not proposing any changes to the MetroLink system, but it will remain the backbone of our transportation network. We're proposing a new category of bus routes called enhanced frequent routes. This set of 12 routes would operate at least every 15 minutes from about 5 a.m. until 9 p.m. A couple of routes, the 94 Page and 4 Natural Bridge, would operate every 15 minutes, primarily during our peak periods, and a little less midday and late evening. The value of the enhanced frequent routes combined with MetroLink is it creates a core network of higher speed service. Many customers, in fact over 50% of our customers that use MetroBus today, would be traveling on those proposed enhanced frequent routes. So just by investing in that suite of 12 routes, we improve service for over 50% of our customers. Now, this network of enhanced frequent routes is supported by a network of local routes, many of which operate every 30 minutes, certainly during the peak period. We're trying to shift from irregular service frequency to what we call a clock-based service frequency. So routes operate every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes. Early in the morning, late at night, midday on a rather small number of routes, we would be operating every 60 minutes. It becomes more predictable and easier to remember. As transit customers, I know you're trying to remember your specific bus times and when that comes, and it's very nice when you can remember it comes at the 29 and the 59 all day long, and it really creates this reliability and predictability that makes using transit, especially for trips that are what we call discretionary, going shopping, going to the grocery store for entertainment and appointments, it makes it more doable. We also have a suite of routes called express routes. You may be familiar with the express routes we operate today. Some of those would be largely unchanged, like our 40X that operates on I-55 or our 410X that operates on Interstate 44. We're also proposing all-day express routes between major destinations, including the 174X, which would operate all day between North County Transit Center and downtown St. Louis at Civic Center, and another route that would operate from North County Transit Center to North Hanley Metrolink Station to help people quickly travel between North and West St. Louis County, or Northwest St. Louis County in particular. Finally, we're proposing a suite of service options that we're calling community mobility solutions. This is a tool, if you will, that we don't have in the Metro Transit system today. Community mobility options would be, many of them, demand responsive. So that means it's not a route that operates just on a fixed route on a set schedule. It could have a fixed route, but it could deviate from that route if hailed or summoned by a customer over the phone by calling customer service or using a mobile application or any other mechanism. In the specific design of those would have to be determined. Some of those could be employer-focused shuttles, that is using smaller vehicles like vans or very small buses to connect from major hubs in our system. Think Ballast Transit Center or Shrewsbury Metrolink Station to take people directly from those hubs to their final destination. These trips that are in the periphery or kind of in the outer areas of our service area today often require many transfers and take quite a lot of time to get there. The buses are operating all day, every day, even though we might not be carrying many customers during the midday, the late evening periods, but rather kind of focused on shift times. Or customers may have occasional need to go to a place like a medical center in West St. Louis County for a trip like a medical appointment. Being able to summon that trip from Ballast to meet your specific needs can greatly reduce wait time. We're not proposing individual service. This is not the same as an Uber or a Lyft that comes to get just you and takes you from your origin to your destination. We would be pooling and riding with multiple people. These community mobility solutions are emerging in cities across the United States. We're having conversations with our peer agencies and with possible providers of service. So we might not, Metro might not directly operate the service, but might manage or broker it. We think this is a great way to provide a more cost-effective and more customer-focused solution in some of the markets we serve. So let's take a look at where we're proposing what. This is a snapshot of the proposed network, and I realize at this scale it's difficult to see, but this is all included on the boards in the back of the room. Again, MetroLink would remain unchanged. This is the network of 12 enhanced frequent Metro bus routes. I want to just run through the list of these. And all of the routes would not operate exactly on the same path they would today. There would be some changes. But in the north, the 61 Chambers, the 74 Florissant, the 35 Rock Road, the 94 Page, the number 4 Natural Bridge, north-south, the 16 City Limits, the 90 Hampton, 95 Kings Highway, 70 Grand, 10 Gravois, 11 Chippewa, and 73 Carondelet are all proposed for at least 15-minute frequency. Again, some of the routes change for this proposed suite of route, but we've been very deliberate about the spacing between them so we can create, as good of coverage of that high-frequency service that we can within the resources available. This is a suite of what we call our local routes. So most of these routes would be operating every 30 minutes. Some of them look like they do today. Many of these have changed. So I encourage you to talk with one of our planners about your specific experiences on our system so you can learn what proposed routes we would be proposing in your market, and we can work together to help glean whether that or not this proposal works for you. And finally, these are the commuter express markets or routes that I described earlier. And these purple areas are the zones we have proposed for community mobility solutions. So just a note on these community mobility solutions. This is a new type of service for us. Before we formally implement a community mobility solution in a market, we are going to be doing some testing so we can determine whether that service type works for us. We'll be working behind the scenes with the technology used to route and dispatch that service and the interfaces available to our customers. We won't formally implement the service and make it permanent and replace a fixed route with a community mobility solution until we're confident in its success. So we hope to begin some of these demonstrations as early as 2018. Supportive improvements, in addition to the transit network improvements we've discussed, would include community mobility hubs, which are not transit centers as we know them today, but these are smaller locations at key points where major routes intersect, and customers would have the opportunity to have a higher level of information, better amenities or comfort like benches or shelters. So we have identified, it's difficult to see here, but you can see it on a board, we've identified a range of locations throughout the city and the county that could be these hubs. In the western and southern and northern parts of our service area, these could be launch points for community mobility solutions as I've described them, or it may be a point simply where a customer transfers from one route to another, but in a more comfortable and safe space than they do today. We are also working to implement and have already implemented a number of tools that are really intended to provide more information to our customers and make using the system easier. Metro continues to operate our customer service call center where we can assist customers with trip planning and any problems or suggestions. We have a mobile application, Metro on the Go. You might have that. And I want you to be aware that we now offer next bus time via text messaging, via email, or you can call an automated system called Interactive Voice Response and find out at your bus stop, hey, where's my bus? And that's actually pulling real-time information. We know where the buses are at any given moment. We're also pursuing a messaging platform, so look for that in 2018. You'll be able to send us a text message or a Facebook message or whatever messaging tool you like to use to ask us a question or make a suggestion. So we want to create more connections between us. We're also rolling out our Gateway card, which is that stored value smart card. It became available to the public last month at our Metro store at 8th and Pine here in downtown. That's available for full fare customers, and we're slowly going to be rolling that out over the course of the next year or so to cover all of our fare media. We're also pursuing mobile ticketing. That's a mechanism that would allow users to pay for their transit fare with their smartphone. That would probably be limited to things like a one ride or a round trip or a day pass, and not to longer passes like a monthly pass for someone who uses the system on a daily or near daily basis. So some of the plan benefits, we're proposing more frequent routes, better connections, what we call purpose-driven service. We're looking at each market and trying to define where people are traveling, when they're traveling, and how we can really focus service on meeting those needs. Fundamentally, our greatest goal is faster, simpler travel. The proposed frequent network would be, including Metrolink and the 12 suite of bus routes, is within a half mile of 86% of our current system boarding, so that's pretty good coverage, as well as 38% of residents on their home location and 46% of employees. As we move toward refining this vision, we're accepting or seeking public comment on this vision throughout the first week in May. We want your feedback. We had a general conversation in the fall. We created our first draft of the Metro Reimagined vision, and we want to know how it does or doesn't work for you specifically. We will then, over the courses of May and June, go back and revise that plan and share an updated vision with you this summer. And we'll move slowly toward implementation, which will be in about a 2019 timeframe. At each stage, we'll have a finer level of understanding of when implementation would actually occur. So I encourage you, find out the details and give us your specific feedback. Talk with any number of our planning team. We're taking comments on our comment forums. We have a forum on our website. You can call customer service at 982-1406. Share your comments with them. You can email us at reimagined@metrostlouis.org. We have a public comment forum today, and I know many of you have signed up for that. Maureen will call our commenters, and we have a court reporter here today to transcribe exactly what you have to share with us if you prefer a verbal comment. So we have, I think, a few minutes to start comments, and then we've got to go live again at noon because we have people on the internet waiting to see the presentation and comment as well. So we'll go through as many commenters as we can, and then we'll jump back into presentation, and we'll have more time for comment at about 12:20.
Okay. So I'll call you in the order you signed if you asked to speak today, and we just want you to make your comment. You can even ask a question, as Jessica stated. We have a court reporter here today, and in respect of time, there may not be an opportunity for any dialogue, but the staff are willing to meet with you one-on-one, and that's so that everyone can get their comment in, and Jessica can be ready to go back to the presentation at noon. And if you choose to, you can also leave your comment in writing, and one of our staff will get with you, back with you as well. You will have 3 minutes to speak. I will cue you when you're down to a minute, and then 30 seconds. And then I do have a little card that says your time is up. I don't want to pull that out. So our first speaker will be, I believe, Dara L.
Hi, my name is Dara. I have a comment. So in September, I attended a town hall. Mayor Lyda Crewson was there, and I asked her about plans to expand transit and improve transit. And her response was that she was looking at reduced fare for seniors, and my response to that was that we need better transit, not just cheaper transit. We need more extensive transit and transit that's actually useful to people who rely on it to get around. She then passed me on to Alice Prince and said that Alice could put me on a citizens board or something like that. So they took my phone number, my name, my email, all of that. And that was in September. I have not heard from them. So that's just a comment. My question is, what's going to happen with the gateway cards? I've talked to someone at Metro recently and frequently about this. And so in the presentation, it was said those rolled out last month, but I wasn't aware of that, and I haven't seen any options to buy those. So my question is, when will the general public be able to use these cards? Because it does make it difficult not being able, only being able to ride Metro bus when I have dollar bills or coins, and I have to take time out of my day, every week, to go to the bank to get dollar bills just so I can ride the bus. So a card would actually be a really great option. Yep, that's it.
It's available now if you're a full fare customer at the Metro Ride store at 8th and Pine. We anticipate a relatively small number of users deliberately as we continue to test the back-end systems, and then as we roll it out, we'll have a number of public events. We've got a bus that's outfitted to go to our stations and provide the cards and register users, but we won't do that for a little while. That will be later in 2018. I hesitate to provide a specific month because it depends on how this goes, but you can visit Metro Store at 8th and Pine, and they are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Thank you. Yes, you can. Yeah, so you can go and get that today if you'd like. Yeah.
Brandy Thompson.
Yes, hi. I would just like to say, yes, hi. I would like to say I'm one of the routes that they're thinking about cutting. The 79 Bermuda Road bus, and I would like to say to you all, like, is there any way, like, in the morning and the afternoon, you can create it where it don't have to come, like, in between? It can just come in the morning and the afternoon. I know there ain't that many riders that ride the bus in between Bermuda and Hanley, but that's exactly where I stay at. And I would like to know, is there any way that you all can, like, see if you can adjust it where there's some kind of way where there's some bus that come through there, like in the morning and evening, because I catch Metro a lot and I'm disabled, and I catch it to go to the store, and I catch it to go shopping and activities, and actually I do a class with the ADA office sometime, and I speak to the passengers. Well, not the passenger. I speak to the people at the office, at Colorado office. I speak to them about how to treat people with disabilities, like the bus drivers and stuff. And sometimes I catch the bus to go there to do a seminar class through the ADA office. And without my mom, sometimes my mom has transportation, sometimes she doesn't. She do have a car, but sometimes her car breaks down. And I was wondering, what do you all propose you're going to do about it if you cut that route? Will, if the bus doesn't serve there, do Colorado not serve there? Because I am disabled and I am going blind in my left eye, and I have other different disabilities, and I'd like to say to you all, is there any way you could make some consideration for people like me and senior citizens? Thank you.
Kelly Dunlap.
I understand Metro is undergoing a change, which hopefully goes within their budget. I would also like to make a call to those elected officials, whoever it may be, to try to really accommodate those as Metro's vision has stated, serving all those, whether disabled or otherwise. I would also like to say there are some routes, one of them which my girlfriend who just spoke has stated that her area would be cut off via Bermuda Road is the location, because I see her from time to time as well. Also, I would like to say that the area west of Rock Hill Loop on what is currently the 56th line would indeed be affected as well, because I see that there's a need for those who do not necessarily have to connect via what would be 21 and what would also be the 50 Lindbergh. Well, I would like to also, on a final notion, I would like to say that I would thank everyone for coming over to this particular meeting and hearing us out, because unfortunately I would like to say that even though I do somewhat, in some ways, approve of this particular vision that Metro has bestowed upon the region, there are some areas where I think that they should not exactly change for the betterment or the worse. Thank you.